Animals, which is the exploitation of a revolution. So it's really kind of the beginning of the story, and it started for me with writing Antichrist Superstar. I saw myself at a point in my life where I had to make a decision. Power, whether I would let it destroy me or if I could destroy what I was becoming and be born as something else. But it was just a dream at that point. So a part of me wanted to make that dream come true. And, you know, of course, when, you know, you find out that it's not always what you want, you know, your dream. So for this, making this record was going back to the beginning and finding out where it all came from. So this record deals a lot with revolution. And I chose the name Adam and that character because it's symbolic of the first man. And so it's kind of to say that my story is everyone's story, something that everybody goes through in their life.
But how do you feel about, well, checking that Marilyn Manson has kind of become this thing too, like a product?
Well, I try to deal a lot with that when I wrote Mechanical Animals because I saw that coming. So 7 of the songs on that record, because the record has 2 sides to it, are sort of sarcastic pop songs, sneering and sort of making fun of what people wanted me to become. And the other 7 songs are kind of dealing with the emotional damage that does. So for me, I had to sort of resurrect myself. So for this record, I felt like I had to go back to the beginning and ask myself, why did I start a band? Because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to affect the way people think. So I just try to take it head on, you know. A lot of people quit, you know, Smashing Pumpkins say they're going to quit because of pop music. That's the better reason to start a band, you know, not to quit. You know, gives you a reason to have something to fight for.
So, how do you feel when you think about your times with Rolling Stone covers and being the closing act of an MTV Music Awards? We don't see much of that. Well, the record just came out, but is it going to be like that?
I suppose, you know, it's things are actually quite bigger than they have been ever in the past, but because I'm so against it now, it's rather ironic because I've always been about criticizing pop culture. Now I'm a big part of it, so I have to incorporate myself in the way I look at things. You know, we're playing MTV on New Year's Eve for when the ball drops, and you know, part of me would not want to do that because you think it's sort of what I'm fighting against, but sometimes that's the only way that you can win is by you know, subverting.
And at the same time, this moment is like going back to your underground roots, isn't it?
As far as my enthusiasm and as far as the attitude of the band, you know, we've wanted to remember what really drove us in the past. And after the American media attacked me over Columbine, it sort of reignited a fire, and there's a lot of anger was brought back, and it all shows on this record.
The art of the new album I wanted to talk about. This image, kind of, this one, the cover, reminds me of, I think, like a classic painting, something, Rembrandt maybe. I don't know that much about art, but...
you know, what I wanted to do was I wanted to take religious images and show that when people try and blame entertainment for presenting violence to people, that everything has to be, you have to go back to the beginning. And Christ is the first famous person. So all religion, entertainment has really been all taken from religion. I think the church was probably the first concert hall, in a way. And I just wanted to point out that that the image of Christ on a cross is just as violent as anything you could see anywhere else. And my point was proven when people banned the record cover, because if you take off my head, that this is a statue of Christ from a church that we photographed, and so they've proved my point. So I thought that was very ironic.
Image is something very important to you. Well, you consider that a lot, but considering the what's happening right now with all these disposable things that you talk about, does image mean anything at all? I mean, like tattoos and piercings and whatever you do with yourself, do they have the same value, or how do you see this thing happening with kids?
It's hard because it's my nature to always do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. So over the past couple years, when other bands started becoming more theatrical and popping up, a lot of people, kind of joining into the aesthetic that I tried to bring back. It would normally be my nature to go away from that. And that's the reason why Mechanical Animals in particular was so different from Antichrist Superstar. But I think there is a real difference between the real thing and something that's not real. And I think my fans are real, and I think people know that I'm real. Whatever real means, But I mean, that I mean who I am,
And talking about the theatrical part of your concept, what do you do to create it, to keep up with it? Do you still study something? I mean, when we look at your movements and that stuff, do you have any special classes? Is it just inspiration?
No, I just kind of go where the music takes me, Just, I really couldn't say what inspires me other than, the people that I liked, performers that I always loved, like Iggy Pop, or, people that just go all the way.
why did you support Eminem by appearing in his video? What do you think of him?
I think it's important that people like him, whether you like their opinions or not, that they have those opinions, you know, because that keeps the power of opinion alive. And, you know, he kind of had something positive to say about me in the song and asked me if I wanted to be in the video, so I said yes. And I think in a way, you know, he's kind of the rap parallel to me. We do things very differently, but he pushes the same buttons. It's great that he's, you know, become so successful for it. And I know that he, like me, you know, loves it and hates it all at the same time. So.
Well, let's think about this in, like, if you were a 13-year-old sitting watching TV, maybe an angry 13-year boy, and you see Marilyn Manson in an Eminem video, like you see Madonna wearing a Britney Spears t-shirt. Doesn't that feel kind of funny? But
I'm not sure, you know, it's hard because I know when it first happened, you know, my fans probably thought, you know, why would he support rap music, or what does he, you know, see in Eminem that would make him do that? But I think that I think he's very talented, you know. I think he's clever. He's funny. I listened to his record and I liked it, you know. And there's not many records that I like, so. Mm-hmm. Right now I don't really have time for too much else, but I enjoy painting in my spare time. It really relaxes me, gives me another way to express myself. And you know, I wrote another book that'll be out next year, and it's a fiction book, and it sort of tells a similar story that the records do, and it's called Hollywood. I sort of likened it to the book A Clockwork Orange. It's not like that, but I'm sure it will have a similar reaction because it's a very, very controversial subject matter. So.
And you are close to Latin director Alejandro Jodorowsky. How did you came across his work in the first place?
It may have been when I went to Mexico. Someone gave me a tape, and you know, he's. I think we have so much in common, and I finally met him because I always loved his work, and I was reading an article where he said that he loved my work. So I contacted him, and we're going to try and make a movie together next summer.
Yeah. It's been said that Hollywood, that maybe you would think about Alejandro Jodorowsky to make Hollywood sometime.
We did want to work on that, but the story is so elaborate that I think it'd be too expensive to make. That's the problem. But he has a very fantastic script that's called Abel Cain, and it's sort of a sequel to El Topo, and he wants me to play in that, and that'll be my dream come true. So hopefully we'll do that, and we'll be doing that in Mexico if we do it. So no, I quite enjoy going to Mexico. You know, the art. I think people really look at religion differently there than they do in America, in a way that you know, I think is more appropriate.
You used to be a journalist, didn't you? So what would you ask Marilyn Manson?
I was such a cynical journalist, I probably wouldn't want to talk to Marilyn Manson.
Do you believe in love? What is love to Marilyn Manson?
When I find something that can distract me from my desire to see the whole world come to an end, I guess that's love.